The second issue of the Clone Wars Battle Tales comic has finally been released, which is once again set before the Battle of Christophsis and not long after the first battle of Geonosis. The comic takes us through the Wolfpack's journey at the beginning of the war, where they fought against Wat Tambor's forces on the trading post called the Nexus. This group of clones is actually the original Wolfpack, who wore red painted armor before most of them were unfortunately wiped out by General Grievous. We also get an amazing glimpse at Anakin and Obi-Wan fighting a fierce duel with Count Dooku and Asajj Ventress. So I'm going to break down exactly what happened in the comic and the brave adventures of the Wolfpack. Before we dive deep into it, remember to hit the subscribe button down below with notifications on to be notified as soon as I drop my breakdown on the next issue of this comic. At the moment, only 20% of you who are watching this video have hit the button, so if you do hit it, you will be made an official member of the Wolfpack. The story begins right where Anakin, Obi-Wan and Plo Koon's troops were left off in the last comic, on the tropical planet of Hysseen. Anakin and Obi-Wan are thrown right into the conflict as they engage in a fierce battle with Count Dooku. Dooku taunts Anakin about their previous duel, which we saw take place in Attack of the Clones, which of course angers him and causes him to become more enraged. Immediately after this, Dooku reveals that his Sith apprentice, Asajj Ventress, is actually with him on the planet and sends her to fight Anakin one-on-one. As Anakin and Obi-Wan are dueling the two Sith, General Plo Koon takes cover and attempts to make contact with Commander Wolf in order to stage a rescue attempt. Plo Koon begins telling Wolf that they have discovered the Hysseen Parliament on the planet, where we learned that the politicians of the planet are hiding out in the last comic. Unfortunately, the transmission signal begins to break up, making communication with Wolf impossible. Before the transmission completely dies out, Plo Koon sends Wolf the coordinates of their current location and instructs Wolf to move the Wolfpack to the Parliament before Dooku's droid forces are able to arrive and slaughter the politicians inside. The really awesome thing here is that we get a full shot of Commander Wolf wearing his old Phase 1 armor before the tragic incident in Clone Wars Season 1. Let me know down in the comments if you prefer his red armor from this comic or his grey armor from later in the Clone Wars. Following this, we cut back to the three clone leaders, Cody, Rex and Wolf, where the transmission containing the location of the Parliament arrives. Commander Wolf wasn't able to hear General Plo Koon's order clearly through the transmission, so he hesitates to move his troops there without proper clarification. Cody also believes that without clear orders, they should remain in place and wait for further instructions. This right here clearly demonstrates just how much Commander Cody really is a clone who does things by the book. Rex then storms in and says that they should go ahead with the mission because Anakin would trust him with something like this. You can really see the contrasting leadership styles between Anakin and Obi-Wan here. Cody then asks Wolf if Plo Koon would trust him to lead a mission by himself without the guidance of his general. Commander Wolf then responds to Cody with a strong yes and begins to tell him a war story about the Wolfpack's mission on the Nexus trading post above the planet Quor-Mendi. The story begins with Plo Koon telling Wolf that the Nexus is said to be impervious to any kind of attack. Wolf replies that he and his men are ready to take on any challenge. Following this, we cut straight to the Separatist leader Wat Tambor, where we learn that he is in charge of defending the facility with his droid army after taking hold of it earlier in the war. Tambor tells his droid commanders that the Republic forces have no chance of taking down the Nexus because of their lack of firepower. Wat Tambor then brings the former custodian of the outpost named Orkul to himself in order to question her. Tambor is extremely angry at her because as a prisoner, she has been trying to sabotage his control of the station and give assistance to the Republic. Wat Tambor is not happy at all with this behavior and decides to take her as a hostage in hopes of preventing the Republic from attacking the station with all of their firepower. As he does this, Plo Koon is leading his aerial forces into battle in the atmosphere near the Nexus. The pilots engage in a full force battle against the droid fighters, but Plo Koon reminds his men that their primary goal is distraction and evasion. Meanwhile, Commander Wolf is leading the Wolfpack on a covert mission to infiltrate the Nexus and take control back from Wat Tambor. Wolf tells his men that their gunships are too small to be detected by the scanners, so they won't have any trouble until they reach the outer walls of the station. Once they do reach the outer walls though, they will experience the full force of Wat Tambor's forces because he will realize that Plo Koon's air assault is just a distraction. Following this, the Wolfpack awesomely use jetpacks to leave their gunship and to fly to the outer walls of the Nexus. As they reach their landing point, massive blaster cannons begin appearing out of the holes in the wall, firing at the Wolfpack on their jetpacks. Commander Wolf reassures his men that they will make it out in no time as long as they keep climbing and stay focused. At this point, Wat Tambor still doesn't know about the Wolfpack's covert mission and is focusing all of his firepower on Plo Koon's fighter squad. After that, things got very worrying for the Wolfpack when Wat Tambor used his famous D-Wing battle droids, which you would remember from Clone Wars Season 7, when Wat Tambor used them on Skako Minor to attack the Bad Batch. These droids are honestly so cool. I always love to see them making appearances with their awesome yellow wings. The Wolfpack then came together as a single unit back to back to defend each other from the flying D-Wing droids, giving Commander Wolf enough time to attach blast charges to some of the D-Wings and flying them straight into Wat Tambor's command center. At this point, Tambor has noticed the Wolfpack's presence and rushes out of his command center only moments before the blast charges detonate. Commander Wolf and his men then land directly in front of Wat Tambor and point their blasters at him, demanding that he release the hostage. Tambor swiftly refuses this offer, stating that he'd rather let the whole place explode than see the Republic take hold of it. Unexpectedly, he actually pulls the trigger to detonate the entire station and calls in 2 D-Wing droids to safely lift him out of the area. Tambor successfully escapes the station, but the hostage is rapidly falling off of the platform, only moments away from death. Thankfully, the Wolfpack responds extremely quickly, activating their jetpacks and grabbing the woman before she can fall. Honestly, how awesome are these guys? I really hope that the next issues of the Battle Tales comics cover their adventures more, because they're quickly climbing the ranks as my favourite clone troopers. At the moment, the 501st are still on top for me, but we'll just have to wait and see where the story goes for the Wolfpack. After that, Plo Koon moves into one of the squad's gunships and directs his pilot to move towards the Wolfpack. Once his gunship arrives, Plo Koon pulls his men into the gunship one by one, only seconds before the entire Nexus station explodes behind them, destroying every single droid inside and millions of credits worth of equipment. Wolf then apologizes to his general for allowing the Nexus to be blown up, but Plo Koon is not upset whatsoever. He tells Commander Wolf that his mission was not a failure at all, because each one of his men was safe and well, which is all that he cared about. Plo Koon is honestly one of the best generals. Wolf is very relieved that his general is not angry at him, and is extremely thankful for his understanding. Plo Koon again mentions that they were only able to complete their mission and rescue the hostage because of the great trust that they both shared for each other. This scene just further backs up the extreme respect and love that Plo Koon has for his men, which we saw from the episode where he says that the clones are not expendable to him. Plo Koon is such an awesome Jedi, definitely one of the more caring ones like Anakin and Obi-Wan. If only Luminara was more like this, maybe Barriss Offee wouldn't have turned to the dark side. At this point, Wolf's story about the mission to the Nexus outpost ends, and we cut straight back to the planet he's seen, where Cody and Wolf have taken their men to the location of the Parliament. They are scouting out the area and hiding in dense jungle bushes when they discover that all of the Hissene politicians have been taken hostage by the droid army. We know from the last issue of the comic that Count Dooku will likely execute every single member of the Parliament because of their refusal to join the Separatist Alliance. Cody then thinks about what Obi-Wan would do in this situation and warns Wolf that if they don't act now, they may never get another chance before it's too late. This prompts Commander Wolf to prepare his Wolfpack for battle and give one of the coolest lines ever. The Wolfpack leads the hunt. This is also such an awesome shot because we get to see the entire Wolfpack standing together in their red Phase 1 clone armor. For those of you who don't know, the original meaning of the red painted armor was meant to symbolize a wolf destroying its prey and leaving only blood behind. The Wolfpack then changed the color of their armor again to blue after the incident with General Grievous to honor their fallen brothers before finally settling on grey. And that's where this issue of the comic ends, right on a massive cliffhanger. I'm sure we'll get to see the result of their rescue mission in the next one and meet up with Anakin, Obi-Wan and Plo Koon once again. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel to be notified as soon as I release my recap on the 3rd issue of the Clone Wars Battle Tales comics. Make sure you let me know down below which colour is your favourite from the Wolfpack, red, blue or grey. Thanks so much for watching, cheers guys, hope to see you in the next one.